I would like to know something about you, your experiences, and your objective from this sessions where why you want to attend it. So this will make me clear and what is your expectation, and so that I can proceed accordingly. So I think we can start one by one. The first I can see the name is someone is. I am audible.
Yes, you are audible. Hello everyone, good morning. And I'm Gitanjali, and currently I'm working in NIT technology, and I have a total 3.5 years of experience. And I'm here for complete knowledge of capital market because it's a very long time. I want to switch my this testing profile to banking domain, but there is only one hurdle that I don't have enough knowledge. So I'm here for that, and I'm also looking for a NCFM certification in capital market. I know there are a lot of certifications, but uh, right now I'm specifically looking for a capital market NCFM, which is foundation level certification. And I want you to means my expectation is like if there is anything else which is good for me and you can guide me, so you can also tell me that.
Okay, that will be great. So, Gitanjali, in which domain you are currently working in?
Actually, I've recent that NIT recently, so my domain is like airline domain mostly.
Okay,
And
and you
before
want to
that,
switch to banking and financial markets.
yes, before that I have worked in insurance also, but that next job I'm not able to get in the banking domain. So very
Okay, okay,
difficult for
that will
me.
be fine.
And yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Um, Next is I think it's Rahul Joshi is there. Rahul, if you're speaking, your voice is not audible. Okay, then we can move to next, probably Vaibhav Mishra. Is everyone able to hear me? Like, Richa, can you confirm with everyone? Like,
Yeah, just you continue. I think there are one or two candidates who are not able to. I mean, we are not able to listen their voice. Let me call them because you are audible.
uh, okay, so that's what I'm like. If we are audible, I think that should also be fine. But can I have a list of the people who are not able to, whose voices I'm not able to hear? So if they have any queries, they can, drop a mail or to us or something with that.
Yeah,
So rest everyone is able to hear us, right? I think Rahul is the one, and Vikas is able to hear us, and Vaibhav, yeah, said yes.
Yes, I am able to hear you.
Great.
Am I
And
audible?
Rahul is available. Yeah, you can continue with your introduction. So, who's left? Vaibhav, you were able to hear, right? So, okay, but I'm not able to hear you. So, are you speaking something or just messaging? So, okay, I think I'm not able to hear the Vaibhav. Fine. Vikas is, you are able to hear me? Not sure. Vipul, Vikas able to hear me? Vipul? Are you able to hear me? You can just message on the system.
Yes, I am able to hear you.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm also able to hear you. So, can you just give some brief introduction of you?
Yeah, okay. My name is Vipul Bilal, and right now I'm working with Cash24 and having 4.5 years experience in software testing and purely
Okay.
in manual.
Okay. So, you also want to switch the domain you are working in right now, or like, what's the expectation for you?
Yes, basically want to switch to the new domain. So basically I'm a beginner.
Okay. In banking and financial markets.
Yes,
Okay. No, great. So I think most of the people can hear us, and but I'm not able to hear you guys. So I think we can continue with that. And in case if someone is getting any trouble in hearing me, just you guys can drop a message with queries or something. I will try and answer with them within this session. Okay, so before moving further, let me just give you some brief introduction of me. So I have I've been working with banking and financial domain for almost like nine years right now, and I recently completed my CFA level two. I am not sure how many of you have heard about the CFA. So just to give you the brief intro about the CFA is like, you start with the NCFM certifications, then there are certain more certifications within the NCFM, and then CFA is like the pinnacle of the investment analysis. So it has three levels. I have cleared two right now and preparing for third one. So that is, but you guys just don't have to worry about that. Like, if someone specifically just want to work in the investment industry, then definitely they might have to go for a CFA. But even if you talk about like as a QA, if you want to club the investment analysis, then to start with the NCFM certifications and the brief intro about the capital markets would work for you guys. This, I guess, the kind of the session we are preparing right now, or the material I have prepared for you guys would definitely help you in two things. One, my objective of this session is so that I can enable you guys for two things. One is, as you guys are looking to switch a job, so I'll try and explain within this session. I'll try and explain you that what kind of questions you guys are getting when you're going to interview for the banking and financial sectors. Like, because most of the companies which are in this domain, they specifically want the experienced people. It's very difficult. Most of the other domains does not have that kind of criteria, but if you are into the investment market, they want some kind of experience as a QA or as a dev or something. But most of the guys are QA over here, and myself is also a QA, so I think we can proceed with that. So I have a good enough experience to know that what kind of questions they might ask you. So after this session, I'm pretty much sure that you will get to know all the basics fundamental of the capital markets, the different terminologies these guys use, and the different areas where you can go, because it's investment banking is a huge subject. They have a different streams in it. So as we go further into the sessions, you'll know what the different areas are and which one you can pick, yeah, depending on your choice and your interest. And the another objective with this session, so I have also aligned my course in a way so that you can, as Gitanjali said, she wanted to go for an NCFM certification, which is very good actually, to test your knowledge, what you have studied over here, and giving those certifications. So that will kind of give you a stamp. Yes, you know about the investment banking, and that will also help you in getting the jobs, because otherwise it's really difficult to, get into the job directly for the banking and financial sector unless and until you have experience. So let's start with the kind of the things which we'll be covering you in this session, and we'll explain you what all things are there where we can go. So are you guys able to see my screen, right? There is no problem with that. Okay.
Yes, I can
So I'm
see.
assuming yes, if there is no. Okay, so these are like just a kind of a list of topics probably which we'll be covering in our sessions. I think someone is not able to join again. Fine. So we'll start with the the first thing is, because as of you are all novice and you do not know anything about the investment market, so we'll start with the very basic. The first thing we'll cover is what the investment basics are, what is all about the investment, like why are we one trying to go for the investments, who should do the investment, at what time you start with the investments, and what are the avenues you will be covering in investments. So this is like why you want to do the investment, and how your investment multiplies. Now, what the interest rate is. Like everyone has, I'm pretty much sure, like everyone is getting their salary credited to their account, so they are aware about the interest rates. Then there are simple and the compounding rates, and how they are using it, and what is the difference between the different areas where you are, like, for savings you have a different interest rates, for FD there are different interest rates, for equity market you are getting more interest, for bonds there is a different interest. So there, so what the interest rate is, how it is being calculated, and where all you can invest. Like you have the stocks, you have the derivatives, you have the debt market, you have index. So some basic terminologies we'll try and cover. I have just listed few of them over here, and but we will going more than that. Like all the basic terminologies which you want, especially for your interview, that will be covered in the first basics and the investment. Next topic we'll be taking further, it will be the who all are the participants in the financial market. Like what you must have heard the SEBI in the news, or other depository trust. Like what is their role, what they are doing, and what are other participants. Like who is the broker, what the broker does, who is the dealer, what is the difference between a broker and a dealer, who is the investor, who is a retail investor. They are HNI, so there are the different categories of the investor. So in one of these sessions we'll be covering these two. One is the investment basics, and about the basics of the financial market. How are we going to proceed with it? So this is like a very very the brief of it. Like we'll be telling you what the mutual fund is, what the depository is, what they are going to do, what the dematerialization is, and the recently the demonetization has happened. Like before that no one has ever heard about the demonetization, so what that is. So all those things will be covered in those basics. So that will give you a pretty much of idea, like what is the investment domain. So any one of you has is investing in the markets right now? Have anyone bought anyone shares? Rahul has bought some shares, so that's good. Any other? So
I
most of
bought
the people
some
have not
coins.
invested in the market. So that is also one area where you can look on, because most of you guys are already 3-4 years of experience, and I think it is a right time for you guys to invest in the market as well, because after that it will be getting pretty much late. It's never late actually, but it's better you should start early, and you are all 3-4 years experience guys, so I think it's the perfect time for you. Because so where all you can invest in, so that will also help, because once you'll have the basic idea, so when you are dealing with the brokers in the market, you'll know what to talk to them and what they are telling you and what is right and what is not. Then is there, okay, Gitanjali has some question. Gitanjali, can you, okay, let me check. Is there any difference between capital market and the investment banking? Okay, so it is like, see, the capital market is the, what should I say, is the investment banking is a superset for the capital market. So when we talk about the capital market is the overall things we are talking about. For example, so this is where we'll classify, we'll answer your questions, where we'll tell you about the different kind of the market. Capital market is the overall thing we are talking about. Then you have different kind of market within the capital market. You have the primary and the secondary market. Then there's another classification where we'll doing the money market and the capital market. Then depending on the financial instruments, there's a classification in the markets. So it is like investment banking is one part of the overall capital markets, because there is a retail banking, there is an investment banking, then within the investment banking, then there are different streams. There's a merger and acquisitions. There are other streams as well. There's just the analysis side. So there are a lot of things which you will soon see. So so we have kept one session for that where you'll be will be classifying all the markets depending on the various classifications we have. Then the next thing which we'll be covering, which is the very, very important thing, the different asset classes you have in the capital markets. You have equities, derivatives, fixed income, commodities, and currencies. There can be few others, but I don't think that you will need them because most of the companies which you will see or most of the jobs which you will see must be working either of them. Like if you will talk about the Morgan Stanley, they must be working in all of these, but when they are hiring for a people, they'll be hiring from some specific set of applications for which they'll be working. So we'll keep one session for each of them where we'll explain you all the basics of the equity plus how to trade in the market. We'll give you some kind of a demo where you can see the live trading happening in the market, how you can buy and sell, how you can put the limit order, what kind of various orders are there. There's a limit order, sell order, good for day orders, or different kind of orders which are there. How you actually trade in the market. So we'll show you one live demo for that. Then there's another asset classes which is very interesting and slightly complicated as well. That is derivatives. So you need one session for that because there you will see the different options. Like you must have heard about the call options and the put options. Then there are other derivatives like the futures and the forwards. What is the difference between the forward market and the future markets? How they are being traded? Uh, what should be the value? How you calculate the values for the forward contract? Like so, we'll explain you all those definitions and how you calculate those values. So that is so we'll keep one session for the derivatives because the point is all these are the main asset classes, right? And you need to have a good knowledge. Like once you'll have the knowledge of these sessions, probably you will be able to decide in within the capital market in which domain or probably in which asset classes you want to expertise in. For example, most of my experience will be the fixed income area, but there will be many who have worked on the equities extensively. There will be others who have worked on the currencies. So these investment banks or the companies which are hiring for these domains, they have the kind of applications which are suited to one kind of customers. They generally do not mix. Like if you are into the equity, they'll give you the interface for the equities only. They won't give you the interface for the, well, they provide the interface, but there's a different set of customers for them. So that is how it happens. So you should have the knowledge for all the asset classes, which is very important. So you'll have the basic knowledge for all, and we can provide you some in-depth knowledge for each of them as well, which is required. Like if you are specifically interested in one of them asset classes. So most of the, you can say almost 5 sessions will go with these of the asset classes because this is very important. Then we'll talk about some of the investment strategies, that how do you actually trade in the market? How do you, when you talk about the investment strategies, like what is a buy and hold option? As you can see with the name, that buy and hold is you just buy and hold it, but this is the basic strategy. Then there are hedge fund strategies, there are growth strategies, there are conservative strategies. Then how do you short sell in the market? What is the meaning of short selling? So these are just some of the strategies. There are a lot more strategies available in the market. We'll try and explain you which are commonly available, and for your interview purpose and for NCFM purpose, you won't need more than that. At least once you have the basic knowledge of the strategies, you should be able to answer all the questions with that. Some of the questions definitely come from the strategies, like what the mark to market is, how you trade in the futures market. So these are some of the things which you should know. Then we'll talk about what kind of risk are there in the market. If you invest, what do you think you can, because ultimately your investment, you're doing the investment to gain something, right? And what kind of things you will get from your investment, what is the risk for that? It's like simple, the higher the risk, higher the gain. But is that risk worth taking? You should know that. So once you have the knowledge of this, like what kind of risk I can take, what are the possibilities where the things cannot go fine. So what is We will explain you what the interest rate risk is, what is the forest risk, what is the liquidity risk, and what is the price risk. So we'll explain you some different risks which are there in the market, and so that that will help you to take the right decision whether you want to invest or you do not want to invest. So that is another um, thing which we'll be covering in our sessions. Then I have kept, though IPO, can be the part of the equities, but I'll try and keep it separate because it altogether it's a different. It's a part of a primary market though, uh, but we'll try and cover it in a slightly different manner and give you some more details. I am pretty much sure you must have heard about the IPOs sooner or later, like in your life. When every time you open some business news channel, they'll be saying this company is issuing an IPO, another company is issuing. So what that IPO is, how you define the prices in the IPO, how you fix the price, how you allot the shares. So all those things will be covered in IPO. Then one session will keep for the retail banking and the payments, where generally, because if someone has interest in the retail bank, so one is definitely the part is investment banking and one is a retail banking. So some of the companies like the Pfizer has a product in the retail banking, and if you are going for them, you might have to have good knowledge about the retail banking, where you can see that how the retail banking happens, how the account transfers happen, NEFT, RTGS. You must have heard, you are doing in your daily routine, but probably you do not know how the things are actually happening at the back end. So we'll be trying and cover all those things, that how what the NACHA is, how the SWIFT system happens. So what is the reverse repo rate, what the inflation is, how you decide the inflation. So all those things will be covered in the uh, retail banking and payment section. So it is like, the banking and financial sector in itself is a huge, and you can divide into three categories. One is the investment banking, one is the retail banking, and one is the payments domain. So there are three different domains you are working in. Like one company, I would say Clear to Pay. It is, they are into the payments domain, where you should know about the Swifts and Nacha and all the account transfers happen. Then the company like the Pfizer's, they are into the retail domain, and then there are a lot of companies who are working on the investment banking domain. So there are three different domain, but our focus mainly will be on the investment banking side, because most of you are interested in that part. But we'll give you one session just in case, because you are interested in BFSI domain, so there are high possibility chances that you might be getting called from the retail and the payments domain as well. So we'll be covering one part for that. Then we'll give you some brief about the scams which are happening, and the kind of the regulations which have been provided for them. The recent scam, you must have heard about the Nirav Modi scam, so which is the latest development in the scams, and how the regulatory authorities are working in it. So we'll talk about that. And one session we will keep about the demo, where we'll give you the uh, you know the kind of feel, like for example, I can show you one of the, just a second, yeah, I can show you some, we'll provide you some demo exercises for this. Yeah, I have, just a second. Automatically sent out. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me, I forgot my login password for this. And will show you how you can actually trade in the market, what kind of things happen. Need some time to load. Okay, so So have you ever guys like have you guys ever seen any trading desk or something in the market? Anyone has seen that? Okay, so this is like your trading screen where if I talk about this one, so this is something like you have all the currencies or probably all the securities like where the FX is written, these are the currency pair, the prices for those currency pairs, the charts for them. For example, if I go by for this, okay, so if I click on the Apple one, I can see the charts for this, how the Apple stock is performing in the market, what the changes are there, at what price it opened, what price it closed, what was the higher price in a day, what was the lower price in a day, what was the previous close price. So we'll give you one demo for this where you can actually do the trade in the market and see how the things are happening, for example, and how to apply some. So this will give you some confidence when you're going for an interview where you can say, yes, I have worked on it. Otherwise, what will happen when you'll go and you'll say, okay, I've worked on it, and they might give you some live screen or something. So probably you might not be able to see or probably answer few of the questions. So that is why we have kept specifically one demo for the equities, and we'll give you one demo for the fixed income securities. Right. So you can see how the screens look like, how you can trade in the market, uh, how to provide the limit orders, stop order, like what do you mean by the market order, stop limit order, and the stop order, how to give you the quantity of shares. Then there are different kind of what you want to good till cancelled. There are some days orders. Then you can put some orders for a whole month, or probably you can put some selected date. So how you do that, because once you will do this and you are going for an interview, you will be much more confident than just reading the theoretically, that okay, though you have heard about equities and you have heard IPO, you know all those things, but unless and until you see it on the screen, it's really difficult to answer those questions when you're sitting in an interview. Because if you're going and saying, okay, I have 2 years or 3 years experience in banking and financial markets, the kind of questions you might receive is difficult to, just by the theory it is difficult to answer, because nowadays pattern for the questions has changed slightly. You just cannot answer the theoretically. It's good you have a theoretical knowledge, but there can be some interview people, like the people who are interviewing, they can actually ask you very practical questions for you guys. So for that, this application will help you out, will give you some simulations for them. You can try and do those trading, so that will help. We'll also explain you about one of the very favorite questions for them is the trading life cycle. So we'll explain you about the trading life cycle for both the fixed income and the equities when we'll be in those sessions. So this is like the overall flow of the course which we'll be taking in. It is much more than what you can see right now, because for each and every topic there's a different slides, all or different presentation. Right now, the things I've just given you the overview of how the things will flow. And once we are done with this, we'll give you some more tips on the NCFM certifications preparations. You can go for those certifications. That will help you guys. And I don't think you need anything else apart from that, especially for the NCFM certifications. Even if you are going 4 to 5 sessions, I can cover all those things when I'm going with this session. So we'll cover that as well. So this is the overall overview for this. And if anything else you guys need, and probably if you want something to include, we can definitely accommodate that. But you just have to, let me know slightly beforehand, so that I can accommodate in my course content. If you want to some, if specifically if you want some topic for that. Otherwise, I believe the kind of content we have will cover almost everything. So you won't have any questions after that. So right now, if you guys have any questions, then let me know.
Guys, it's a very interactive session, so please, if you have any concern, you can clear with the trainer, right? Because most of you, I mean, when I talk, then you don't have any idea about that, so please discuss.
Are we covering concept and modes of analysis and ratio analysis? I don't know what it is exactly, but I was just
Can you
studying
please come again with the question?
concepts and modes of analysis and ratio analysis.
Definitely, I have included that in my topics and scope. So we'll be covering in the ratio analysis as well. Though that will be slightly more technical, but we'll include that for sure. Okay, so Rahul is asking about the course duration. So course duration will be, if we are keeping it on the weekends, so probably it will take almost a month, I would say, because definitely we need one session on each of the asset classes, plus we need 2 to 3 classes for other topics as well. Those are the small topics because our main content will be covered in those asset classes session. So all your doubts will be covered in that only. So we'll need around 8 classes, and it will take at least a month.
Hi.
Rahul, like
So what will be the timings for the classes?
timings, I think we can work on it depending on like who all are joining, and so which is suitable to everyone. Though we'll try and keep it on Saturdays and Sundays in the morning. But in case if we have more participants like interested in other timings, so we can schedule accordingly. As of now, generally our classes happens in the morning on Saturdays and Sundays because
For
I
two
think
hours.
that yeah. Go ahead, please come on.
So basically, this class is for 2 hours minimum for that.
Yes, generally they are for 2 hours minimum. But we can, it totally depends on the kind of course we are doing. For example, if we are working on the fixed income, it might extend beyond 2 hours as well. For some of the topics, it might reduce, but generally it is more than 2 hours because each of the topic is pretty much interesting and will giving you the in-depth knowledge. So 2 hours definitely will be there, but it can beyond that as well. Just don't keep it to the 2 hours. It might go up to 2.5 or 3 hours as well sometimes. So I told you there's no definite uh, timings as such. So we'll try and keep it within the 8 to 10 classes. We'll try and move the course accordingly, but it can be more than 2 hours as well.
And one thing more, like you provide some slideshows or not
Uh,
after that from the
Provide
classes?
some.
Slideshows or maybe material, study
See, regarding
material.
the material and the slideshows, might have to consult with the Refer Me group admin or something because it is their policy and they'll decide how the things are. So you might have to connect with them, what is their policy and how they're working on it. So I
Okay,
think Richa or someone else from the Refer Me group can give you some more details on it.
Okay, and can
yes.
we have the recorded session for every class? Is there something like that?
I think on that as well, Richa can give you some more info. Uh,
Okay.
what is their policy with that?
Gitanjali, actually, we don't provide the recording sessions. We only do when someone in emergency he or she cannot attend. So in that case, we provide.
Okay.
Uh,
But if
Can you
someone,
please repeat it again? Actually, I am not able to. Somewhere I have been voice of was speaking. So, Richa, can you please, if we are not able to join the class due to some reasons, so in that case, you are able to provide a video recording from. Hello, am I
Vikas,
audible?
can you please repeat?
Suppose if we are not, due to some reason, I am not able to join the class, or suppose there is a class tomorrow, and I am not able to join due to some reason. So, are you able to provide the video recording for the same?
see, guys, if you have prior commitments and you have planned that you will not be able to attend the session, right? Then you can inform us. You can inform us earlier, right? But in case of emergency, we will provide the information. But if you have
Okay.
some planning, you have planned programs, then in that case you have to tell us, right? Because in that case we can discuss with the team and the timings can be changed, right?
Yes.
Like we are working people, and for we got only Saturday, Sunday. So like there is no plan. So is it possible for you to guys provide each and every recording for all the classes?
People, can you please repeat?
Basically, we are working people, so we got only Saturday and Sunday. So is
Right.
it possible for you? There will be no prior plan for us.
Mm-hmm.
For other
Vipul, that's why we have planned on the weekends only and on the morning timings because all are professionals and all want that they get free as early as possible. That's why we are planning that all training sessions should be in the morning session so that if we start around 9 and 9 a.m. or 8:30, then you can get free around 10:30 or 11. Right after that, you can enjoy your weekend.
okay.
Please, do you have any query? Because you are not, I'm not able to listen anything from your side. So, guys, please tell us if you anyone has any other query regarding the course.
So, so in this session, we are not covering the insurance part. Am I right?
Insurance is basically not the part of the banking and capital markets. So because if you want to work on insurance, we have to look for that material. Like for you specifically, you can try and do something for that, but the insurance doesn't come under the capital markets.
Okay. Uh, but I think SIPs all comes under capital market, so we are also covering it as well. Something like SIP is also a part of
Yeah,
mutual fund.
we'll
Am
be
I right?
covering yes, we'll be covering the mutual funds and SIP. So SIP will be the part of the mutual fund section only.
So, hello.
Hello.
Uh, yeah. Actually, in the nseindia.com, I can see there are a lot of certification for foundation level. So after this investment banking
Okay.
so which certification we are able to means we can do after this class? Which certification? There are a lot of certifications
Okay.
like financial market, mutual fund, currency derivatives. So which one is good for
So
like I want
yeah.
to switch? I'm a beginner, so which one is good for me?
See, the first certification you should go for definitely the financial markets beginners module because that is like the base of everything. Then there are certain others which are like the interest rate derivatives. Then there's a mutual fund. Then there are the more slightly in depth for the topic. So which all certifications you named right now? Can you come again with that
Uh, yeah, there are financial market, a beginner
after that?
mod. module: mutual funds, currency derivative, equity derivative,
Yeah, that's what
interest
I said. Like,
rates, commercial
when you talk
banking in
about
India.
yeah, got it. So that's what I said. Like when you talk about the overall capital market or the financial markets, the beginner module is a base. It will give you the wide knowledge, not the in-depth knowledge. So the first module or first certification you should go for is the financial module. So that will give you the wide, like, because this section will cover the wide things. It will give you it will touch base upon almost every asset classes and how things are working. But the rest of the certifications which you are saying, that equity certifications, derivatives, and the mutual fund certification, then there's interest rate certification, so they are more the in-depth. You are going into the in-depth of the certain certifications. But with this course, I have tried, accommodated my course in a way where you can give all those things. Almost 4 to 5 certifications you can cover with these. We'll first give you the broad knowledge about the various asset classes and how things are working. Then when the sessions start up with the specific asset classes, so you can go for them as well. Like if you'll go for the equity session, so after that, you should be able to go with the mutual funds and the other, other derivative certifications
Derivative.
as well. For if you are going for the fixed income, you can easily go for the derivatives, interest rate derivative certification in the NCFM. So this is how we have made up our course. That with each of the asset classes, you will be cover with the one session. You'll be able should be able to go through those certifications, or probably they'll be a lot more easier for you uh, once you have covered all those things over here.
Okay, so like in the this NSE side, I have seen that there are some PDFs available for study. But in that section, in that financial market section, there is no PDF. So will you please help me, help us? We all are need to do that NCFM. So will you please help us for getting that PDF? Means how we have to prepare, where to apply, because I cannot see anything here specific for that module. There's just written that
Definitely,
here.
we'll do that. I have kept one thing for
Because
NCFM
my
certification prep.
main purpose for getting into that class, I want to do that NCFM certification. So I want means I want this class to be helpful with me for completing my NCFM.
Yeah, definitely. That is why I didn't kept a separate slide for that. But if you'll see in my topics and scope, so in the last like once we are done with this, so we'll keep one session just to help you out how to go for these certifications, what things to prepare, what things to keep in mind, how you should study for that, and we'll try and keep those things so that you can go in for the certification. So we will prepare you for the NCFM certification as well.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Just a second. In terms of working. Okay, so Chitra has asked some question. Let me see. Just a second. Just give me. So, Chitra, I believe you're asking like how, as a tester, things are different for the banking, financial domain, and the other domains, right?
That's right. That's what I'm
This is
asking. Like,
what
are
I'm
they
assuming from your question. So, for the banking and financial sector, let me tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
asking like
You were saying
as
something.
I said,
Who was there?
yeah, they were like these are different applications which different company have for them, and then the testers work on them. Like there are number changes and the like or functionality based. I mean, what all exactly a tester would do in this particular domain? That's what I was asking.
Okay, so see, as a QA or as a tester, you definitely do all those things only which you are doing for the other domains. But the point is, why it is so important to have a domain knowledge when you are working in this section, but why not for others? That was
Correct.
the main question, and why companies hiring in this domain want the experienced people only. The most basic thing, whatever domain you are working in, and the banking and financial market, have you ever worked on the trading applications, or have you ever worked on, this is the financial market, your single mistake can cost million of dollars to the company. So just a second. यार, क्या- So, okay, so what I was saying here, the problem is because this is a very critical domain. It's all about the finances, and it's not just the finance in the on the screen. It is the actual profit and loss to the companies. If you are working, say, probably to some other domain, maybe the insurance domain or maybe to some other domain, so they are not directly related with the customer. But here, you can see like with every fluctuation, even if there is a slight change in the price of some security, probably for a bond, if I have calculated a price of say 99 and it should be 98, so with even a $1, the loss the company is going to make is in millions. So that is why they want very experienced people. So they should know how the things are flowing. They should understand the systems. That is why they want the domain knowledge, because unless and until you understand the system, for example, if I talk about just the fixed income, if you do not understand what the swaps are, or if you do not understand what the interest rate derivatives are, and you have calculated, you are seeing some calculation on your screen, but you do not know how you have calculated it, and you end up calculating the wrong things, or probably end up testing the wrong calculations, whatever has been given to you, then it will come to you that how you passed it. But for others, because it is not impacting the client directly, there is not so hue and cry. But for the financial markets, this is the main problem. If you are on a trading desk, if you are on the even on the back end operations, the kind of logic they have implemented for all the calculations, they are so complicated. So once, unless and until you understand the systems, unless and until you understand how this domain works, it is very difficult to test the applications. But for others, it is not the case, because I have also worked in some other domain as well. Neither they are that much interested, or nor they are, the people are not really much bothered that even if there are some issues, then it's okay. But with financial domain, it is not the case.
Okay, so how much practical areas would be become like we'll be having this
So,
theory sessions also, right? And how much practical would be so that it's easy to grab the things faster.
Yeah, definitely. We'll try and cover the practical area for all the asset classes. That is, I've just shown you one screen for the equities, that how the equities work. Similarly, we'll try and cover some of the things in the fixed income and the other. So we'll try and keep, the practical exposure. Obviously, we cannot give you the 100% of the practical exposure, but definitely we'll try and show you some of the screens and how things are working, so that when you are in the interview, you should be able to answer those questions at how actually things work over there. So we'll cover that good enough part. After that, I'm pretty much sure that you won't be like there is no practical application given, but we'll try and cover that at least uh, 20 to 30% for each of the asset classes. We'll show you some of the practical screens and how things are there.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
so, so I have one
All right.
question.
Yeah.
Because I have 7 years of experience, I didn't get a chance to work in capital domain or capital and market domain. So I only get a chance to work in e-commerce and healthcare domain. So
Okay.
in most of the companies, whenever I see the job openings related to the banking and financial domain, or in fact insurance domain as well, they are looking
Yeah.
for expertise. So if I don't have an experience in the particular hands-on experience in that
Okay.
particular application, and any market, financial and capital market application, so how I can get the job? Because theory is not only the solution for us. So do you
Yes,
have any
definitely. That is what I said earlier as well, because theory is just you can get the
yes,
job with the theory as well, but the point is these days the people who are taking interviews are very smart, and they are trying to get that you have actual knowledge or not. So that is why I mentioned that we have
yes.
kept the demos for almost all the asset classes. So 5 asset classes we will be
So do
working
you
you.
have any
We'll show you the real time screens, We'll show you how things are there. This is definitely going to be the interview, but or definitely you need a lot of practical applications and yeah, hi. Are you guys able to hear me? Actually, it seems like my audio connection lost at that time. Okay, great. So someone was asking question earlier about the practical application. Fine. So I was telling you, definitely you need a lot of practical. It's difficult to beat a person with who is actually having a 7 years of experience in the banking and capital market. But this session and the NCFM certifications plus the demo we'll show you, you will definitely can cover up to the 40 to 50% of the things they have done, and the rest is obviously up to you, that how you scale up yourself and present yourself in the interview. See, the most important thing in the interview is your confidence. Even with the theory, if you are able to demonstrate them, yes, you have done enough work, they'll hire you. It's as simple as that. 50
I know,
in
but
it's not only the capital markets, even in any of the domain or even in any of the job,
I know.
50% is your knowledge and
But
50% is your confidence.
right now, this thing is not working. Right now, this thing is not working. To be frankly,
What
I
is
have
not
given lots
working
of interviews. They are actually looking
for
for the
banking and capital markets?
yes, they are actually looking for the hands-on experience. So at the time of something, they are judged.
So
The person is not having a real-time experience. They are just
no, no. So
doing
have you
something
told them
and
that you do not have a real-time experience?
no, actually.
What you so
So
you start, okay,
actually,
tell me, you started this domain before. Okay, first tell me, have you ever studied this domain before?
no, I
Do you
have
know
just
about the
read couple
bonds?
of I have just read couple of interview questions. Just gone through the interview.
So that's what I'm saying. For you cannot make a fool out of a person when you have just read few questions on the website uh, for an banking and financial interview. It is very difficult to crack. So that is why we are
So
helping you
after
out. We
just I
are
want to know
giving.
after your I just have known after your session, do we have any can we get any practical knowledge? Is there any website to do means
Yes,
we can
yes,
do
yes.
our beta testing?
Yes,
Is it
definitely. We'll provide you the demonstrations for that, and we'll try and give you some of the exercises so that you can, do some hands-on with yourself.
okay? Thank you.
Okay, and Rahul has asked some question. I want to show real-time experience. Will you assist in showing the project product? Definitely, this is the same question or the same thing I've been repeating again and again. We'll give you some of the demo sessions. We'll show you how the real-time screen works. We'll try and give you some of the controls, and you can, work on it, but definitely carefully, and you don't have to mess up the things. We'll try and do that. And definitely, specifically the people who are more experienced. See, the person with a 3 4 year experience have a very good chance of getting a job with this. For 7 and 8 years experience has also very good chance, but uh, somewhere down the line they might have to tell the interview that they do have 2 to 3 years of experience. You just cannot go there and say, okay, I do not have any experience in it, but I know definitely the people will not hire you. I can tell you, with this session, with NCFM certification and the demo we show you, you can have an experience of up to 3 to 4 year guy. The kind of material we have prepared and the kind of things will let you know. You can easily go and tell, okay, I have a 3 to 4 years of experience, but definitely not a 7 or 8 years of experience. So, like for the guy who is telling me, like, he has a 7 years of experience. So what might you have to do is you can show them that you have a 3 years experience in banking and capital markets, and and 4 years experience in some other domain, then you have a pretty much good chance of getting hired, right? But yes, if you'll say, okay, I do not have any experience, then it will be a problem.
Yes,
And then
yeah,
there's another
it's
question, and for sure is
I am
domain
facing this problem.
knowledge mandatory? Okay, so for automation testing, see, wherever you will go, you'll learn that most of the times they say for an automation tester, domain knowledge is not necessary, right? Because just have to automate whatever is there on the screen and work on it. But that totally
But
depends on what kind of team structure you are in. I can
I
put
can see there
you
are
some
means
of the
as
examples
compared
from
to
my experiences.
automation.
Yeah.
But as I see, as compared to automation, automation jobs, manual testing jobs are more in financial and capital market domain.
Yes, there is a reason for that. The reason being, because it's pretty much fast paced environment for the financial markets for one thing. Plus, you need the manual intervention every time because it's a money related thing. And as of now, within India, I have seen a lot of people who are working in the automation, but the kind of automation they are doing, it's not 100%. So the people who are sitting in the US, they are still not confident about the automation unless and until someone is very much, very much has an expertise in the automation or some kind of tool. And moreover, automation is generally used for the regression most of the times. But for this capital markets, the kind of functional changes you get every day and every time, it is very difficult to keep the automation with. So that is why there's more. So they ask manual experience more than the automation. But for coming back to the question Rahul has asked, the question was, okay, automation tester is domain knowledge mandatory? Mandatory, definitely not. You do not need a domain knowledge to be an automation tester. But yes, if you are working in banking and financial markets, they still want you to have some of the domain knowledge. And the second thing which depends is the kind of team structure you are. Like, I have worked in a team where there is a completely different automation team and the completely different manual team. So that automation team is just doing the automation for all the applications. So they don't need the domain knowledge. But there's another kind of structure, or there's another kind of applications where you do not have a separate automation team. There are some smaller projects, 30 40 people, each one of working on their own module. There can be an individual contributor role. So there, if you are doing the automation, you should have a domain knowledge, because unless and until you do not know the application or you do not have the domain knowledge, you won't be able to automate it, because you are the only one who is doing the manual and the automation testing. So that totally depends on what kind of structure you have. But as far as my experience goes, these days people expect everything. If you are going in the market, they want you to be have a domain knowledge, they want the manual knowledge, they want the automation knowledge. If you have all these, that's great.
And I have one more question. Suppose I know the capital market domain is a evergreen domain. It will never end. So I just also want to know,
Yeah.
for being currently I'm working as a manual tester. I have also knowledge of automation, but I didn't get a chance to work. Live exposure. So there are new
Okay.
technologies are also coming in currently. Suppose as you can say cloud computing, everything, artificial intelligence. So they are maybe
Yes.
also affecting the financial domain, financial market domain. So what kind of changes currently you are experiencing due to new these technologies? I just also want to know. Means they are
Great.
also affecting
Very
the
nice.
financial and market domain.
Yes, very nice question. To answer this, the beauty of the domain is domain never changes, technology changes. So there are two different things altogether. As you mentioned, there are a lot of new technologies coming in, there are a lot of new applications coming in. So a lot of things changing. It is like the way we represent our applications on the GUI changes. Like earlier, we used to have a desktop applications. Now there are more web based. Now they are more going into the mobile based applications. Like for example, you can see the Share Khan. There was used to be some a web based application. Now they also provide you the mobile access, right? So this is the technology which is changing. But what is the core? Core is your domain. Domain never changes. You will never change the definition of what the stock is. The definition of bond, stock, how these are traded in the market, it never changes. The point is that. So that's what I'm saying. There are two different things. Technology changes, domain not. Once you learn the domain, once you'll understand it, once you'll understand what the swaps is, once you'll understand what the option is, these things doesn't change. It's just the way how you execute your orders, how you see those things on the screen changes. That's it, nothing else. That is where the automation is also coming in. Earlier, one change I can see, earlier a lot of QTP is being used in the applications. Most of the applications which were there for this financial markets, they are the desktop applications. As soon as they are moving into the web-based applications, QTP is not being used. They have started using the Selenium or the Python, something like, because for the data analytics they have started using the Python. So those kind of changes that have happened, but not the domain. It's gonna stay as it is. It's there for last centuries. It's gonna there for the other centuries as well. Any other question, guys? I guess no one has any questions right now. Ritesh, Vaibhav, Vikas, Vipul, Rahul, Gitanjali, Chitrarth.
I have
Sorry
one more
to.
question. This
Yeah.
so just artificial intelligence affecting the functionality of this domain, not domain of means financial applications.
Artificial
Because
intelligence affects everything.
I
It's not
know,
about.
but currently means as I know means as you can also say everything is related to money in
Yeah.
financial and market domain. So and with they sorry and basically for being they are also considering for being as a automation manual is better for this particular domain because uh, they are not accept any single mistake for this related to money and everything because everything is if it affects a single point one paisa so it means uh, for only one person but in for their financial companies it affects a lot, am I right?
Yes.
So in terms I just want to know it so they are more mainly considering as a being as a manual tester how it goes to us in this
See,
particular domain.
the artificial intelligence, to be frankly speaking, I probably am not the right person for commenting on the artificial intelligence because I have not worked on it. As far as I know, like I have been hearing this thing for a very long time now. Things are going definitely automation is going up, it's scaling up, things are getting better and better, and it might soon come to our lives as well. But as of now, I do not see any hint of the artificial intelligence coming in. There are things which are changing, but again, it won't affect your domain. Artificial intelligence just changes the way you guys work. That's it, nothing else. If you are into the technology side, then you might have to scale up into the machine learning or some other language. Then you need the big data, Hadoop, all those things. So you have to keep on improving yourselves. But that is what the technology is, and that is where the beauty lies with the domain because it does not change. Ultimately, the way you trade is not going to change. It's the human behavior, right? If you're buying something, you're selling something, you'll try and negotiate it. For how long you are buying, what are the future contracts, what are the forward. These things do not change. Probably one thing can happen, all the contracts can become digital, but that has already happened, right? For centuries, if I go 50 years back, all the contracts were manual, or probably manual in a way, they're not the digital, but now everything is digital. Earlier the forward contracts would happen, like if I want to buy a wheat from you after 6 months and I'll pay you the money, so that is a contract between us. That was on a paper. If you'll go 50 years before that, there was not even a paper. You just say it, okay, you said it, and there's a contract. Now everything is a digital. That is where the artificial intelligence is coming in. You can so if I say tomorrow the blockchain is coming in, then you might not even have these kind of contracts. Then they are furthermore, they might use the blockchain technology to sign all the forward and future contracts and the other equity contracts. But that is something related to the technology altogether. You don't have to worry about that. If you are very much interested in technology, then you might have to study it. That is another case. But if you want to, looking in the current scenario, your job scenario, your certifications and your domain knowledge, then you are not, I guess you should not be bothered about the artificial intelligence. It's not going to affect you soon. Is any other questions? Hi guys, I think now no one else has any questions, so you can always email to Richa or just a message to me or Richa. We'll try and answer all of your queries if you want. Okay, and if you have any other queries related to the course content, not the course content, but the timings, course length, or when you want to schedule it, recordings and everything, the study materials, all those things, all those information will be provided by Richa or someone from the Refer Me group. They'll help you out. Okay, so you can connect with them. And any course related things you want to understand, any queries related, to the what you should do with your in shaping up your career, how you can go about it. In further, you can connect with me. I'm also there in the group. Okay, so you can just message me. That is not an issue. For now, I think I'll be wrapping up the session and hope to see you guys in further sessions. Uh, that will be okay. I think Rahul has asked. Good. Okay. Okay. Rahul, I'll share the email ID with you guys soon. Okay. Take care, guys. I'm ending up this